Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. What I have for you guys today, I have another episode of the Championship Roundup, guys. So what this video is, it's going to be split into two parts, guys. So the first half of the video will be me reviewing all of this week's action from the Championship, guys. And it was a pretty hectic weekend, if I say so myself. We had some pretty good results this weekend, but as well as that, the second half of the video will then be my score predictions for this week's Championship midweek fixtures, guys. So in the comments down below, what I want you to do is leave a comment as to how your team played this weekend and what you thought of their performance overall, and as well as that, make sure you get your score predictions in for midweek. So before we get into anything here, guys, I will leave your comments on screen now if you did manage to get any of them right. So first of all, before we get into anything here, guys, I've got to give the Reading FC away days boys a shout out here, because they managed to guess the correct scoreline for the Reading game 3 weeks in a row now, which is just absolutely mental. So it's nice to see as well that we're getting like the sort of the same people getting the score predictions right. I'm noticing a couple of patterns here with people that generally get the same score lines right, so it's nice to see that. But yeah, like I said, guys, make sure in the comments down below you get in your predictions. So in the description I will leave all the games that are taking place midweek, so you guys can do that. So the first game we have to talk about, guys, is Preston coming up against Wigan on Friday night. Now obviously I was at this game being a Preston fan myself, so for this one a Jordan Hugill early goal was enough for Preston to get all 3 points in this match. It was a bit of a funny one really, because ever since Preston took the lead in this match, they seem to sit back into their shell really and let Wigan have possession of the ball for large majorities of the match, as you can see by the match stats to the side of me, guys. But the thing I'll say about this is all the Wigan players looked quite comfortable on the ball and they were happy to have the ball, but that was to no avail really. They didn't really pressure Preston much with that ball. I think Chris Maxwell, he had one save in the match where I thought this might go in, but apart from that, all the saves were really at Maxwell. And Will Grigg especially, I thought he was kept very quiet by Bailey Wright and Tom Clark in this match. So I thought Wigan will be quite disappointed to have so much of the ball but create so little really in that aspect. But they'll obviously be hoping to bounce back from that. But whereas Preston, on the other hand, maybe this is a turning point in the season, who knows. We're coming up against Birmingham on Tuesday night, which should be an interesting game. I'll actually be going to that match, so I'll probably do a vlog for that. But that should be an interesting match, guys. But in terms of this one, I thought Preston probably did deserve the win in the end, just because of the chances Preston created outdid the ones that Wigan did. And I've got to give a shout out as well to Tom Clark, because he was immense in this match. The next match we're going to go to, guys, is Brighton coming up against Barnsley. So in this game, Brighton managed to come through the test of Barnsley with a 2-0 victory in the end. So first of all, we need to talk about Knockout, because I don't know if you guys have seen it, but he did some dazzling skill moves in this game, and he just looked on fire in this game. And he probably is one of the best players in the Championship, and he showed it in this match. Some of the stuff he was doing was just absolutely outstanding. I mean, Brighton fans will know what I'm talking about here, but he was just terrific in this match. And Brighton are now up to 3rd in the Championship after that win, so it really was a big victory for them. And they really have seemed to turn the corner this season, and they've gone on a little bit of an unbeaten streak now. So Glenn Murray in this match also looked fantastic. He obviously managed to bag twice for them in this game. I think he'll be, we said it at the start of the season, but he's going to be massive for Brighton this season, and he showed why in this game here. But Barnsley, I think they were far from their best in this game, really. I thought they would have been quite disappointed with the performance that they actually came up to, because they couldn't really get anywhere near Brighton with the style of football they were playing. So in that aspect, I think Barnsley may be a bit disappointed, but looking at it at the start of the season, you know, these weren't really the sort of games which Barnsley would have expected to be going away and getting points at. So I wouldn't read too much into it if I was a Barnsley fan. Obviously, they'll be hoping to bounce back on Tuesday night now. And then the next match we're going to go to, guys, is Derby coming up against Blackburn Rovers. So this really was a massive match at the bottom of the table, and Derby's horrific run to this season just continues now with a 2-0 loss to Blackburn Rovers at home as well. This really wasn't an encouraging performance. However, what was encouraging was Derby actually managed to take the lead in this match from a Vidra goal, his first goal for the club, and that looked like an encouraging sign. But they were able to hold on to this lead for like less than a minute for when Blackburn were able to equalise with Marvin Emnes with a goal. And questionable defending, I thought, from Derby, really. I thought what they could have done in this match, they could have done so much better. And then it didn't actually take long for Danny Graham to make it 2-1 to Blackburn and turn this game on its head now. And Derby fans, I'd be really interested to hear from you after this performance, really. And who are you blaming after this? Because obviously Pearson's come into this new job. I mean, he's not a bad manager, you know. He's shown he's not a bad manager with his track record is all the clubs he's been at, but in my opinion, I think it'll probably lie down with the attitude of some of the players at the club, because even when you look through the player list, you know, on paper, Derby have one of the strongest squads in the Championship. So it really is weird to see how they're struggling so much. And as well as that, their lack of goals this season. I mean, with the attacking players they've got going forward, it's just a shock to me. But Blackburn have really looked to maybe turn a corner this season, really. They managed to climb out of the relegation zone with this victory here, and the last two performances really have been encouraging. Obviously, 2 wins on the bounce now for Blackburn, so who knows where this could lead them to. The next match we then go to, guys, is Fulham coming up against Bristol City. So in this match, Bristol City flew Fulham away with this one, really, with a 4-0 victory at Craven Cottage. What a game this was in the end from a Bristol City perspective. It was Abraham, Freeman, Reed and Flint who were all on the score sheet for Bristol City, as they just looked terrific in this match. And it was a complete performance from Bristol City, really, because I thought even when Bristol City were leading, Fulham did have a couple of chances to get back into this match. However, they were very resolute and they managed to defend very solidly at the back. But it wasn't just that. On the counter-attack and on the break, they just looked electric in this match, and that really is Bristol City's strength this season. I think going forward, some of the attacking options they've got at the club really are terrific at Bristol, and that was just topped off really by this performance. And Fulham really couldn't handle Bristol City's pace coming forward in this match, which really was a detriment to Fulham in this match. And at times, Fulham did have the chances to get back into this match, they just couldn't take them in this one. But that's not taking anything away from Bristol City, because they were just absolutely phenomenal in this game. Next match we then go to, guys, is Leeds United coming up against Ipswich Town. So in this one, Leeds United managed to claim all 3 points with a 1-0 victory over Ipswich Town. So this one's, I suppose it's put a little bit of pressure on the Mick McCarthy, really, with the average sort of start Ipswich have had to this season. That was just topped up, really, by this performance. But I think we have to talk about Chris Wood for a little bit here, because I've seen quite a lot of, at the start of the season especially, I thought there was a lot of doubt, really, over Chris Wood with Leeds United fans. There was a bit of discontent with him as well. But so far this season, especially in this month, he's been fantastic for them. I think it just shows what confidence can do to a striker, because in this game, he really was the focal point of all their attacks, and he was just terrific for them, as Leeds United were able to walk away with a 1-0 victory. So in this match, Ipswich never really could salvage anything to get back into this game. They never really showed much intent to get back into it. So what's the feeling around Ipswich at this point in time, and with Mick McCarthy? Because I've seen quite a few contrasting opinions, Ipswich fans, so I'd be interested to know as to what you think of Mick McCarthy at this point in time. But Leeds at this point in time look to be on the up. Every performance they've had from the start of the season, they seem to have getting a little bit better, so they'll be hoping to build on this one now, and they'll be hoping this will set a solid foundation for the rest of the season. The next match we then go to, guys, is Norwich coming up against Burton Albion. So I must say, I didn't say at the start of the video, but in this game week, I managed to successfully guess 2 scorelines this week, so not bad going from me there, definitely not my worst week, and this was actually one of the games which I successfully managed to predict, guys. So in the end, this one managed to finish 3-1 to Norwich in the end, managing to brush away Burton Albion. So in this one, it was a bit of a funny match, really. I thought Norwich weren't at their best in this match, but it was enough to deal with Burton. No disrespect to Burton, obviously, but in this game, I thought Pinto especially and Olsen both looked very good for Norwich in this game, and there's some very good performances from Norwich players in this one, actually. And Burton could never really, they struggled for parts in this game. However, they weren't they weren't like massively outplayed in this match, but they did struggle for bits in this game. And I think it was they definitely weren't helped when Tom Flanagan got a red card. I thought that was the turning point in this match, really, where it was going to be Burton were never really going to get back into this game when they had 10 men on the field. So from there, they couldn't really get near Norwich, who have looked very impressive so far this season. So Norwich City fans, do you think this season will end in promotion? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd be very interested to know. And as well as that, what did you think of this performance? So from Burton Albion perspective, it's not the end of the world, you know. Like I said before, it's not really, these sort of games really aren't where Burton are going to be picking up their points this season. It's going to be teams in and around Burton where they'll be looking to target, so not the worst from Burton, really. The next match we then go to, guys, is QPR coming up against Birmingham. So in this one, neither side could get ahead in the second half, really, to salvage anything and to get all 3 points in this match. So neither teams could really take their opportunities after it had finished 1-1. And in the end, guys, this result actually meant that QPR were able to end their 3-match losing run, and that Birmingham have managed to stay unbeaten away from home this season. So pretty impressive there from Birmingham, I must say that. In the second half of this game, I thought both teams did have the chance to actually go out and win this match. I thought QPR will have been a bit disappointed, really. Obviously, they'll have been hoping to get the win after a disappointing spell of late, I must say that about QPR. So what did you think of this performance, QPR and Birmingham fans? I'd be very interested to know about this one, really, as Preston are actually coming up against Birmingham next. So I'll be very interested to hear from some Birmingham fans as to how you think the outcome of that game will go, because it's been a pretty impressive start for Birmingham so far this season, obviously with them currently being in the top 6, so definitely not going to be an easy match for Preston, that one. So the next match we then go to, guys, is Reading coming up against Huddersfield. So in this one, Reading managed to edge past the league leaders in Huddersfield with an impressive 1-0 victory over them. Now, I think the red card had a huge bearing on this match, so I'll talk about that for a little bit. what Van La Parra did was just idiotic, really, and you could see that by the reaction of the Huddersfield players. I mean, Nahki Wells was absolutely furious with Van La Parra after this game, and on the pitch you could see it, he was absolutely raging at him. But Huddersfield fans, what do you think of Van La Parra? Because if I can say anything about this, I'd say that Reading are probably the worst team in the league to go down a man to and to be 10 men, because they just keep the ball so well, and to counter that with 10 men on the field must have been hell for Huddersfield in this game. So I wasn't surprised when they did go down to 10 men that they weren't going to get back into this game, and Reading deservedly so in the end managed to walk away with a 1-0 victory. So Huddersfield lately have had a bit of a rocky spell lately. I think they've lost 2 in their last 3 now, so not the best from Huddersfield lately. Obviously they'll be looking to bounce back in midweek, but it was Reckles who managed to get the goal for Reading in this game, and Reading have actually climbed now to 4th in the league, so who knows what's possible for Reading this season. So they've been a bit topsy-turvy really. They had a bit of a down spell a couple of weeks ago, but since then they managed to go on a fantastic run of late, and Yapstan's men look to be on the up at the moment, with them being 4th in the league now. And then the next match we then go to, guys, is Rotherham coming up against Cardiff. So for this one, this was a huge game at the bottom of the table, and out of these two sides, in my championship predictions video, I was actually backing Rotherham to win this match. However, the opposite of that turned out in the end, with Cardiff managing to oversee them with a 2-1 victory away from home. So it was actually Ricky Lambert who managed to turn this game on its head, actually, with 2 second-half goals for him. So fantastic for that, and obviously that's what he's been brought into Cardiff to do. So what do you think of Ricky Lambert's performance in this game, Cardiff fans, and do you think that you'll see more of that to come for the rest of the season? So I wouldn't be getting too carried away, because obviously these two sides are both at the bottom of the table at this point in time, but Rotherham, if I was a Rotherham fan, I'd be especially disappointed with this game, especially coming off the back of the Blackburn defeat, and now coming off to a defeat against Cardiff as well. That's losing 2 matches to 2 teams which are in and around you this season. It really isn't a good omen for the rest of the season, so I'd be very interested to know from Rotherham fans, what do you think of Alan Stubbs? Do you think he should get the sack now, or would you give him a little bit more time to resolve things? Let me know down below. I'd be very interested to know for that one. And then the next match we then go to, guys, is Sheffield Wednesday coming up against Nottingham Forest. So this is actually the second match this week which I successfully managed to predict. So in this game, in the end, guys, it managed to finish 2-1 to Sheffield Wednesday. So a big victory for Sheffield Wednesday in this one, really, because so far this season they haven't had the greatest start to this season. So it really is imperative for them that they're able to win these sort of matches. Obviously, no disrespect to Nottingham Forest there, but it was actually Kieran Lee who picked up both goals for Sheffield Wednesday in this game, which has now moved them up to 11th in the league. So maybe this will provide a platform now for Sheffield Wednesday to build on. In this game, I thought Nottingham Forest were perhaps a little bit unlucky, really, not to get anything from this match. Obviously, when a team scores a last-minute winner, you're always devastated by that. So Nottingham Forest fans, I don't think I'll be too overly disappointed with this one. I mean, going away to Hillsborough is always going to be a tough task, and in my opinion, you probably did deserve to get something from this match. So there's a positive sign to take from there, I suppose. The next match then go to, guys, is Wolves coming up against Brentford. So for this one, I actually predicted, I was expecting a draw in this match, but that was not the case in the end, guys. So the first half was a bit dreary and a bit dull, not really much happened in the first half. However, that was more than made up by the second half, when 4 goals were scored in the second half, guys. So the goals Wolves scored, I thought Brentford would have been quite disappointed with, really. I thought from a Brentford perspective, I thought they could have been a bit avoidable. Dan Bentley, I thought, could have done a little bit better with one of the goals, and a bit of questionable defending here and there, but that's not taking anything away from Wolves here, because they really were fantastic in this match. And ever since they lost 4-0 to Barnsley, they really seem to have galvanised the squad since then. Obviously, they managed to go on that fantastic win against Newcastle, and now with a 3-1 victory over Brentford, who knows what's possible for Walter Zenger's men this season, because the style of football he's got them playing in such a short period of time since he's been at the club really has been fantastic for them, and all the signings which Wolves have made so far this season, and a lot of them contributing to this victory, have really stepped up to the plate this season for Wolves. So Wolves fans, what do you think is possible for the rest of the season? I'll be very interested to know. And then to the last game, guys, we have Aston Villa coming up against Newcastle United. So this one actually managed to finish 1-1 between 2 Champions League winning managers. So I still can't believe I'm saying that. For a championship match to have 2 Champions League winning managers is just absolutely insane. But going into this match, I was backing Newcastle to win this game. The reason for that being, I thought their form lately has been a bit better than Aston Villa's, albeit it has been a bit topsy-turvy, really, obviously with them losing to Wolves the other week. But apart from that, I was expecting Newcastle to win this match, and in all honesty, they probably should have won this match. With the chances they had and the sheer amount of chances they had in this match, they really should have done better. It was a Tommy Elthwick own goal which managed to gift Newcastle into the lead in this match, but a couple of their players really should have done better with a couple more chances they had. However, Aston Villa kept pressing, and to be fair to Aston Villa, they also had chances in this match where they didn't score. I mean, AU hit the post with a fantastic curling effort he had, but it was actually Tish Bowler in the end who was able to level this one up, and it ended as a 1-1 in the end. So Aston Villa and Newcastle fans, what did you think of this game? I mean, it's not the worst result in the world, but with Newcastle next fixture being against Norwich, this one they could have done with a win in this one, I think. So now, guys, I will go over my midweek predictions as to what I think will happen in midweek. So make sure you guys get your predictions in the comments down below. So I'll quickly brush over all of these, guys. So Barnsley against Aston Villa, I think that's one's going to end as a draw, 1-1. Birmingham against Preston, also going to say is going to be a 1-1. I think this will be an incredibly tough match for Preston, but I suppose we've got a bit of momentum going at the moment, so I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1. Then to the next match, we have Blackburn coming up against Sheffield Wednesday. Tough to back against Blackburn, really, with the form they're in, but I'm going to say Sheffield Wednesday are going to win this one 2-1. Brentford against Reading, I can't bet against Reading at this point in time. I'm going to back Reading to win 2-1 in that one. Bristol City coming up against Leeds United. Tough match to call this one, but I'm going to say 2-1 Bristol City. To the next match we have Burton against QPR. I'm going to say this one's going to be a 1-1. Then to Cardiff against Derby, I'm going to say this one's going to be a 0-0. Really interesting match, that one. Whoever is able to get 3 points in that match will be absolutely huge for them. And then I'm going to back Huddersfield to bounce back against Rotherham. I'm going to say they're going to win that match 1-0. And then we have Ipswich coming up against Brighton. I'm going to say Brighton are going to win that one with a 1-0 goal margin. Then we have Nottingham Forest coming up against Fulham. I'm going to say that one's going to end level as a 1-1 at the City Ground. Then we have Wigan against Wolves. I can't back against Wolves with the form there currently. I'm going to say 2-0 Wolves in that match. And then to the last match, guys, we have Newcastle coming up against Norwich. I'm going to say that one's going to end as a 1-1. Tough one to call that one because they're two promotion chasers by sure. But now, guys, I will now wrap it up for this video. So if you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for regular championship content. Make sure you check out all the links in the description down below. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. I always tweet before I upload a video. Therefore, you'll never miss a video ever again, guys. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.